All right, here we go.
Yes. Okay. Hello, Syl. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Beena Moreness. Good morning, Beena Moreness.
Hello,
What would that
Graham.
be? Beena
Thank you for.
Moreness? Would that be Beena Moreness? Beena Moreness? Beena Moreness? Yeah.
Yes. Hello, Graham, and hello, and welcome everyone to another live. And nowadays, our lives are so full of excitement. Of course, for us, I assume that whoever is listening, like, including of course Norma, this is exciting stuff because we are in the final preparation
Mm.
phase of Cell going to do the podcast series. And it is not just one podcast random thing. No, it's a series. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal, of course.
Yeah.
And not only because that this is finally, this is a starting now for Sil, but also because that since yesterday, I guess it started day before yesterday, we were focusing on, at least in my mind, that was the thing that I was thinking about, how this way of impeccability and moreness projects are different from any other program. So for me, because I was using the term structured awareness, and then Sil actually gave me the precise term for that, and he says that constructive awareness. And it
Yes.
makes a huge difference for
Constructed.
me. Of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, it made a huge difference for me because then I was like, okay, yes, the power of precise vocabulary.
Mm.
I read once in a book I was reading, and it was a fictional book, foretelling, and in that book, some old Amazon era type, some wise woman there says that when you name something, it belongs to you, and
Yes.
that sentence just stuck in my mind. And it
Yes.
is okay, it is
Yes.
a
Yes.
regular thing for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
And if I feel the moreness, and if I cannot actually elaborate it, elucidate it in my own words,
Yeah.
till then it is going to just stay with me forever. I'm never going to leave that, even if it is just a tiny bit trivial thing. So for me, that sentence was like, why so? Why she says that?
Yes.
And I was trying to
Yes.
understand it. It is like always sitting there whenever I got some connectivity to that, and I was like, oh yes, okay. But yes, today again, when we name something precisely, it adds on as a building block of our constructed awareness.
Yes.
Once we name something precisely, because by giving a right, appropriate name to any expression, anything, anyone, I don't know any other expression for that, we actually try to make it clear for ourselves. Like, yes, I can give you hints. Hints are, of course, just hints. They are not clear direction.
Mm.
Naming is a mechanism of giving a clear direction because we
Yes.
have association with that word.
Not
So
just
once I was
direction,
using,
but owning.
exactly. So when I was thinking about the structured awareness, and still just today he says that what about constructed awareness? Because there is a
Yeah. Well, not
deliberative
what
act
about.
involved
I was
into this.
saying it's more accurate to say constructed than structured.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, just to
And
get
I
the
was
real
like,
precision
wow,
there.
okay, so this is, yes,
Hello,
okay. And I
Norma.
said,
Yeah.
wow, it makes whole lot of sense now.
Oh,
And this is exactly what I was trying
oh, yeah.
to understand for myself. That was the thing. So that this is again the power of vocabulary and power of naming,
Yes.
because
Yes.
this is
Naming is
what we
crucial. Yes.
because this is what we do innately. We name ourselves. Oh, look how stupid I am. Oh, how silly I am. Oh, look how naive I am. Look how,
Terrible.
okay. Oh,
Terrible.
yes. Poor me. It's
Yeah.
all naming.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
continuously name ourselves and others
Exactly.
also.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
this situation is horrible. We
Yeah.
name that
Yeah.
situation horrible. Oh, this is a terrible thing. Terrible is a name we
Yeah.
assign, we give to that particular situation. Oh, this person is Okay, stingy. This person is cruel. This one is mean. We
Yeah.
name them. And of course, naming is not isolated, that's like living on its own. No, it has amazingly sophisticated associations.
Oh, oh yes.
Associations are
Oh yes. Oh yes.
and associations are connections.
And
So once
consequence.
we name some exactly, of course, those connections have consequence. So
Yes.
once we name something, we create associations, and then those associations, which are actually connections, have some consequences. And this is
Yes.
how we create reality around ourselves. And especially when we name something between these two, like
Oh,
between ourselves and that condition or situation or that person or thing, we create a reality right there. If I'm naming someone as cruel, as bad, as mean, I am creating a reality between me and the other person or situation or
yeah.
thing. That this is going to be a mean communication. This is going to be a mean relationship, bad relationship, cruel relationship. It could be for anything. For like, oh, my house is not good. My room is not nice. So this one is not. My job is horrible. This is how we create our reality by naming them. Because once we say that, we create it. And that is the power of vocabulary. And that's why Way of Impeccability and Moreness Project participants have a very, yes, sometimes people say that, oh, it's very old type of language. No, it's not old type. It is proper. Many times it is proper language and appropriate language. So this is what we try to focus on, and I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we when we are trying to do when we are trying to make ourselves better, when we are trying to learn and grow, it starts with the very root cause, and this is where we start
Yeah.
our reality by naming things. By naming them, we create association, and
Yeah.
associations, which are actually connections, and connections create consequences.
Correct.
So we
Correct.
that
Correct.
and really address the issue at the
Yeah. Yeah.
very root of it. And this
Yes.
is where it all starts. Okay,
Wonderful.
one of the many, one of the many. So
Wonderful.
this was my today's thought. This was my today's
Yeah.
constructed
Yeah.
awareness, and this is what I'm practicing. So let's go back.
Yeah. It's most
Let's get
wonderful, Beena. It is most
let's
wonderful.
get back
Most wonderful.
to today's
Yes.
topic,
And
and
and this
today's
connects
pen
so
is going to read.
powerfully. This connects so powerfully to what
Yes.
we are about. What we are about. What is this here? What is
Wow.
this here? Oh, it's part of the picture. Oh, huh. In the corner here. I didn't know what that
No.
was, but it's part of the background picture. It's quite
Huh?
fascinating. Yeah. See, because I thought it was
No, it
something by
looks like
me.
some crochet. No, 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 it is not. No, it is
No.
not. It's
Yeah.
not part of the picture. No,
Well,
it is
it's not
not.
part of my background either. Because look when I put my
It is in front of camera.
it's the
It
it's
was
from the
some
window.
crochet type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things.
yeah. It's from the curtain, but
Window.
what do you call the lace curtain? Yeah. From my
See?
it was coming from the side. Yeah. Wow. But I put my hand
Yes.
in. I didn't see it. I didn't touch it. Okay. That's why I
But
put it there.
I was looking your hand behind that. That's why I was saying, no, it's not
Yeah,
part
that's
of
why
the
you could
picture.
see it. Yeah. I think my screen got moved, and that's why it's picking up things on the
Oh,
side
yes.
here. Anyway, uh, what you were saying this about the terminology and naming. Not only is it about emphasis within the brain, when you accurately name things, those connections explode exponentially as opposed to an inaccurate connection. An inaccurate connection connects vaguely, but when it's accurate and it's potent, it connects to other things and it brings all of that into thing and creates a reality in your brain, right? Like the difference between structured awareness, which is yeah, it's kind of right, but not quite, as opposed to a
Yes.
constructed awareness. Right? It's two completely different things. Yes. When we
Yes.
construct our awareness, we're building it, we're growing it. And since it's construction, it implies that you are going to have some kind of structure there. However, structured awareness on its own can also imply a conditioned awareness, which is structured, but it's very narrow, very small, very limited. See, and it's not owned
Yes.
by you. It's not created by you.
Yes.
A constructed
Yes.
awareness is one that's developed and built, and by implication, it's our own. And this is crucial in the entire understanding of way of impeccability. It's not about beliefs, not something that you're taking from somewhere else. It's a toolbox. It's a toolbox way of impeccability. It's not a belief system. It's a toolbox of tools with which you construct your awareness to be a deliberately constructed awareness. See, and that's it. A constructed awareness implies deliberately constructed, right? You don't construct
And
randomly. Yeah, construct means to do deliberately, right? So the implication of deliberate awareness and constructed awareness, same thing. Yes. To have a deliberate awareness, you can have a deliberate awareness, but it's not quite constructed necessarily. You might just be deliberately applying whatever you have. But a constructed awareness, this is one that's been deliberately put together to be more than just random awareness. So constructed awareness, incredibly powerful power conception. And where does it go?
where?
Yeah, where? Where did you add it
Um,
to? What list did you add it to? Where did you put it in? I did. I put it in
oh,
mine.
yes, Dictionary of Power.
Thank you very much. The dictionary of power is precisely that construction. This is where you see the building blocks. Each entry is further construction, the beams, the supports, the foundation, right? That's what your dictionary of power is the construction. Very crucial, very crucial. Yes?
Yes.
Dictionary of power is integral to everything. It needs to be constantly maintained, paid attention to, and kept in awareness.
Okay,
Very
so
crucial.
everyone can understand that, whoever is listening, we can understand that, I can guess that I'm a bit reluctant to say, oh yes, not because that it is not powerful, just because that I am way too behind to update my dictionary of power.
Okay,
And this is
okay.
something
All
Syl
right.
was
Well,
asking
we'll
me to
make it
do
a
that so
project
that,
then, Beena. We're not today,
yes,
but maybe on Sunday. That's a good theme for Sunday. To go over Dictionary of Power and update Beena's Dictionary of Power live.
yes.
Maybe.
Okay, okay,
All right.
let's see.
Before we came on, Beena and I were busy making the announcement, which I have to make into an event and I have to post it on the blogs. The announcement for the podcast series. Now, those who've been following along know that I'm going to be doing this on April the 3rd, in other words, 10 days' time, more or less. And this is a very big deal. It's with a PBN network, top 1.5% podcast networks in the world. It's a professionally produced podcast series over 10 podcast episodes. They're going to be advertising this. They're going to be repeating all of these episodes 200 times, and they're going to be advertised on billboards, or at least I can advertise anything I want on the billboards to watch these or myself or whatever. Anyway, so there's all a billboard advertising campaign involved in this, essentially to promote me and my work, what I do. Right, so we were making this, and while I'm making this, I received just not connected, just universe being wonderfully generous and kind, sent me a testimonial quote from somebody, right? They sent me this, right? As a message, but I'm going to use it as a testimonial quote. So I'm going to read it, right? I am only a small cog, but people like you are needed to do the assembling. I think the fact that we care about each other and the world makes the sum 1 + 1 = 3! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. We are more, capital M, more. We are more, exclamation. And it could be possible with all of us like-minded souls to save the world. We are helping the thinking and seeding, especially you are. One day the universe connection also, who knows, dot, dot, dot. Seeds are designed to grow, and without seeds, we would starve. Think how much work you do via your thoughts and cleverness with words. How many good seeds you sow. I can only help you in a small way. Grin. My view anyway. Thank you for loving me and seeing my truth and helping me grow. Yeah. Isn't that a wonderful testimonial?
Oh, yes.
It's incredible. Incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. And I'm going to include it in that post if you don't mind. I'll just make sure to ask more permission. But I think at the end of the announcement, right, and the event announcement, and the post that goes on the website and on my blog and Substack and everywhere, right? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. That I'm going to make this post, right? And this announcement. I mean, the whole podcast series is a big deal, and I think a nice testimonial is quote at the bottom is adds to it. Yes, Beena?
Yes.
All right. Oh, that's just wonderful there. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Just a gift. A gift. So the timing was right. We just finished, right? And I received this message right as we started the podcast. Sorry, the live, right? It just came right
Yes.
then. Came right then. Very magical, very magical, very magical. Hello, Norma. Hello, Norma. Glad you're here, Norma. Glad you're here, Norma. Glad you're here. Always, always. All right, we're going to, let me just get everything set up. And then we will start reading. We'll start reading. And Norma says, essential for oneness with a heart in control. Okay, thank you, says Norma. All right. Oh, you're just magical, Norma. You're most magical and wonderful. You're a gift. You're a gift, Norma. You're a magical gift. All right. Gift from the universe. Lots of, the universe is very kind to us. We just have to pay attention to see that kindness, right? Okay. Just getting everything done. Well, a lot of windows are open. I was very busy and we came right at the very last minute. So, all right. Fun stuff going on. Fun stuff going on. Uh, wow. I got a zillion windows open. We're getting there. We're going to continue reading as we were yesterday. Oh, okay. Wow, I've been busy. I've been busy. I've been busy. I didn't realize I was quite that busy, but all right. uh, Here's the book. Okay, screen share. Screen share, screen share. Oh, I was busy editing and doing things here. So other books by Syl Sabastian. Book 1, Making Sense of Toxic Abusive People. Book 2. Why is book 1 twice there? Doesn't seem to be. Wow, just noticed that now. Book 2, Understanding the Crazy of Life and Self-Psychology in a Narcissism Culture. Book 4, Ask Biella, Questions Answered. Book 2, that's going to be published simultaneously with book 1. And then to be published, the Biella series, the Young Man series, and the Young Man series. And then the Council of the Gods, I should add that in here too, the Council of the Gods and other stories. But not right now. All right. We were on 22. Oh, we read 22. Yes. Right, Beena? How do we remain positive
Yes.
when so much negativity surrounds us? And then we said, what is a good example of turning a negative situation into positive? Oh, we did this also. Yeah, about the young man's story about going to the desert. That's a big deal, that story, by the way. There's so much to it. I mean, like I say, that's that story, the young man's story. There's the young man's story pre-gift of intent and the young man's story post-gift of intent. Uh, and that's a very big deal story. When you hear the fullness of that story, the reason I say it's a big deal is because when you have compounding incredibility, all right, so when I have one thing that happens that's really amazing and wonderful and incredible, it's like, wow, this is really cool. This is really cool. Then I get 2 and I go, man, I got 2. This is like really huge. And then you get 3. It's like, oh my God, I got 3. It's like, wow, really, seriously? Then you go 4. At some point, you run out of the ability to exclaim how incredible it is. Yes. And that story
Yes.
is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just keeps adding. It just keeps adding. It just keeps adding. And then you start to see there's a pattern of incredibleness. It's not a random event. It's all interconnected. And then we start to see the magic, the absolute incredible magic of living in attunement. That's why it is the gift of intent. Yes. Because there was a profound intent that led to all of that. The intent started. It's a lifetime intent that culminated and said, I've come to the end of pursuing this intent, and the way I am pursuing it cannot work. It cannot work. Right? The gift of self-wisdom is flawed, says the young man in that story. Yes, the gift of self-wisdom is flawed. This realization says, what I'm pursuing cannot work. I have to find something else. Yeah? And attunement is the solution to the gift, the pursuit of self-wisdom, right? The pursuit of self-wisdom is a flawed concept. Yeah? So then that gift, that intent of wanting the moreness, in other words, yeah, it comes via attunement, and attunement is this absolutely incredible, incredible, incredible gift that just keeps on giving, keeps on giving. And you read that whole story, you see the pattern of how this flows and develops. Unbelievable stuff, unbelievable stuff. All right. We're still on this theme of positivity, negativity, happiness, yes? And it seems my
Yes.
window is a tad small here. Let me make it just a tad bigger. Beena can read nicely. Do it in this window also. Oh, yeah. Can you read this, Beena, or is it too small? It just seems smaller today.
Okay. I thought that you are going to read, but okay. I mean,
Oh, no,
fine.
no, 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 no. I want you to read. No, no, no. I like when you read. It's a great joy. All right. Can you read? Is that good?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Just a minute.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Hello, wonderful Norma. I'll say hello to wonderful Norma. Chapter 24. That's where we are. Chapter 24. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yes.
So I can see Norma's wonderful comments. Move this across a little bit. It doesn't overlap.
Yes.
Positioning, all important positioning. And emphasis too. See, we were talking about naming things. When you name it, you make it your own. When you make it your own, it's yours. You can use it. You don't have to remember to use it. It just becomes automatic, which is also why these subheadings when I'm making a post, awareness, misbeliefs, they're part of naming what goes on here, right? And for me, I pay real acute attention to the topics, right? To the headings. They're very,
Yes.
very, very important, right? Now the
Yes.
title here is the question, right? So it's chapter 24, and that's kind of the title. So it's a little different structure here to normally. Normally I would have a title that presents the overview, but in this case the question is the overview, right? Because that's the whole book. Ask Biella, questions answered, book 1, right? That's a very key point here.
Yes.
All right, Beena. All right, Beena. Please read.
Okay. Awareness. What is the key to true happiness and success? Dear health. This is the name? Okay.
Yeah.
The key is awareness. Okay. The key is awareness. The ultimate goal is freedom, true freedom. But without awareness, that is problematic. We easily get ourselves into trouble when unaware. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly people
They get puzzled or stuck there that,
Yeah.
oh, if I'm free to do this, so this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very, very problematic thing, because freedom doesn't mean that you are going to just go completely
Yeah.
out of sense. Okay, then let's put it that way. But because we assume that we get confused with the discipline and the restriction. They are two different things. And that is a problem. The freedom doesn't mean that you are going to just be random. No. Freedom comes with responsibility, and that responsibility you can only fulfill by maintaining a discipline, which is, of course, going to be your choice.
Yeah.
But let's just take, okay, dear health, the key is awareness. The ultimate goal is freedom, true freedom. But without awareness, that is problematic. We easily get ourselves into trouble when unaware. But let's stick to the here and now and not dwell on theoretical possibilities. It's our current reality and the state of affairs that matters. Here, awareness is also most critical.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's too low for me, Syl, so just please scroll a bit.
Okay. Hypothetical possibilities. I love this picture. I love this picture. Isn't that an incredible picture?
Yes,
I believe
yes.
this is Coco, who can speak in sign language.
Yes,
I believe that's Coco.
yes.
And, you know, Coco said something funny, obviously, there. Yeah.
Okay, just look around. Look at those you know. Look also at your own doings. Observe especially after the fact when there has been foolishness of any kind. Notice how it was always because the individual had been unaware. If they had been aware, they would not have been foolish. Unawareness is inherent to foolishness. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll continue, but this thing unawareness is inherent to
Yeah, it's
foolishness.
such a simple statement. It's such a it's such an obvious statement, but it's one of those profound obvious. It wasn't obvious until it was obvious. You see it in
Yes,
retrospect. But having that obviousness brought to the forefront, not in the background, is profound. It's like naming it. It's the same, right?
exactly.
It's naming it. Yeah. Yeah. It's making a connection. That's a very deep, profound connection. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, misbeliefs. There's more to silliness or idiocy and then unawareness. Otherwise, ignorance would be a prominent factor in stupidity.
Yeah.
But we can be utterly ignorant and not be a fool. Also, we can be aware, at least to some degree, and still be a thorough nincompoop. The difference is beliefs, or more accurately, misbeliefs. I want to read this again.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let me read it and then you read it again. There is more to silliness or idiocy than unawareness. Otherwise, ignorance would be a prominent factor in stupidity. But we can be utterly ignorant and not be a fool. Also, we can be aware, at least to some degree, and still be a thorough nincompoop. The difference is beliefs, or more accurately, misbeliefs.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, read it again. Make it your own. Make it your own. It's why we're here. It's why
Yes,
we.
I want to do this. Misbeliefs. There is more to silliness or idiocy than unawareness. Otherwise, ignorance would be a prominent factor in stupidity. But we can be utterly ignorant and not be a fool. Utterly
Hmm.
ignorant and not be a fool. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm utterly ignorant about certain things,
Also, we
but
can
that
be
doesn't make me a
aware.
fool, correct?
Yes.
What's the difference, right? Okay, take a child that's very ignorant. Are they necessarily a foolish child? or not? No. Sometimes you get children who are ignorant but not fools. You get children who are ignorant and fools. See? Difference.
Oh, yes. Yes. Also, we can be aware, at least to some degree, and still be a thorough incomplete. The difference is beliefs, or more accurately, misbeliefs.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
closely, especially those who behave absurdly, but who should know better. No, but who should know better? Okay, let me read it again. Look closely at especially those who behave absurdly, but who should know better. They perpetrate, yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. They perpetrate the most ludicrous behavior despite being
Ludicrous.
somewhat aware.
Ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Ludicrous, okay.
Yeah.
They perpetrate the most ludicrous behavior despite being somewhat aware, all because of their clinging and immersion to utterly preposterous belief. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And especially those who behave absurdly, but who should know better. Will you please elucidate it for me?
Okay, so when I say who should know better, like when you say, man, they should know better than doing what they did. Yeah,
Yes,
in that way. All
yes,
right. So now we're going to look at those people who we see do right, who behave absurdly, but who should know better. I mean, when a child behaves absurdly, you say, well, they don't know any better. Yeah, you excuse it. Now, how come there are people
yes.
who we feel should know better, but they still behave absurdly? Why? They perpetrate the most ludicrous behavior despite being somewhat aware, all because
Hmm.
of their clinging and immersion to utterly preposterous beliefs.
Yes.
Okay, take racism, a classic example here, right? You may have doctors, scientists, whatever, teachers, lawyers, it doesn't matter. I'm not just saying, not that they better or worse than anybody else, but fathers, parents, people who should know better, who can be racists. Why? Because of a stupid, idiotic, preposterous, and utterly preposterous belief. There's no foundation for it. There's no reality to it. Science doesn't back it up. Nothing. But they cling to it. Yes, utterly preposterous beliefs. Yeah. Racism is a classic example of this, right? So now you see how this makes them fools. In other words, stupid, silly, idiotic. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Invariably, they hold these wrong-headed beliefs because they believe they'll get some sort of value out of them. Typically, their false ideas are a consequence of root misbeliefs, such as the myth of ego, the folly of shortcuts like cheating and dishonesty, and the like misbeliefs compounded by further misbeliefs.
And the like. Yeah, there was a full stop there. All right.
Yes.
Right. Typically, their false ideas are a consequence of root misbeliefs, such as the myth of ego, the folly of shortcuts, like cheating and dishonesty, and the like. Misbeliefs compounded by further misbeliefs. Right. So they believe in shortcuts, for instance. Yes. And they believe
Yes.
ego, and they believe in superiority. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can I read it again
Oh, please, you read as
from
many
the
times
start?
as you need to.
Okay, from the start. So please scroll.
Say
It's
again.
not from the top. So it's not clicking completely.
Well, from the very start of the article, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so it will be connected. So for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. I like that. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Because now I lost the track of the question, like what is the key
Yeah,
to
yeah.
true happiness and success?
Ah, yeah.
Okay. What is awareness? What is the key to true happiness and success? Dear health, the key is awareness. The ultimate goal is freedom, true freedom. But without awareness, that is problematic. We easily get ourselves into trouble when unaware. But let's stick to the here and now and not dwell on hypothetical possibilities. It's our current reality and the state of affairs that matters. Here, awareness is also most critical. Just look around. Look at those you know. Look also at your own doings. Ah, yes, okay. Observe especially after the fact when there has been foolishness of any kind. Notice how it was always because the individual had been unaware. If they had been aware, they would not have been foolish. Unawareness is inherent to foolishness.
Yeah.
Okay. Misbeliefs. There is more to silliness or idiocy than unawareness. Otherwise, ignorance would be a prominent factor in stupidity. But we can be utterly ignorant and not be a fool. Also, we can be aware, at least to some degree, and still be a thorough nincompoop. The difference is beliefs, or more accurately, misbeliefs. Look closely at especially those who behave absurdly but who should know better. They perpetrate the most ludicrous behavior despite being somewhat aware, all because of their clinging and immersion to utterly preposterous beliefs. Invariably, they hold these wrong-headed beliefs because they believe they'll get some sort of value out of them. Typically, their false ideas are a consequence of root misbeliefs, such as the myth of ego and superiority, the folly of shortcuts like cheating and dishonesty, and the like. Misbeliefs compounded by further misbeliefs. Ah, wow.
Yeah.
Fools are motivated by foolish ideas.
Motivations, the
Oh,
topic
sorry.
we're hitting.
Motivations. Motivations. Fools are motivated by foolish ideas. That's what makes them fools.
There you
The
go.
happy fool, also a myth. We tend to notice exceptions, but paying attention to the run-of-the-mill fools, those that are more numerous, we soon see how thoroughly misbeliefs they are.
How thoroughly
Sorry,
miserable they
miserable they
are.
are. Oh yes, yes, everything. How thoroughly miserable they are, and how they seldom, if ever, achieve any kind of lasting value or even temporary benefit from their foolishness. They will take the tiniest bit of success, no matter how fleeting, and transform it into an affirmation of their nonsense. Motivations, when connected to beliefs, are powerful and producing happiness or unhappiness. What's the difference? Awareness. Oh my God. Motivations, when connected to beliefs, are powerful for producing happiness or unhappiness. What's the difference? Awareness. When we become aware or make ourselves aware of what is really involved with our motivations and beliefs, that's when we zoom out a bit, looking at those two profound factors affecting our happiness and realize that being aware of what's involved makes all the difference.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So in this context, the unawareness is lack of knowledge.
Correct. Well,
Or,
sort of.
or
No. I mean, yes, to a certain extent, but the knowledge is what? Awareness of the situation, right? And we're going to come now. I'm looking from should deliberate living, and then we get to awareness again, right? It ties it together. So in this case, just keep going here, and it's going to fall together, right? But awareness of the issue that ignorance isn't necessarily what makes us happy or unhappy. It's unawareness, yeah. Unawareness of
hmm,
what? Unawareness of our beliefs and how they connect to our motivations. unawareness of things like should. Yes, unawareness of deliberate living. We live undeliberately. See? So keep going and it will all fall into place.
Okay.
Yeah. Unhooking from should.
Oh, yes,
Keep
yes.
going.
It was on top, so it was cutting off. So that's why.
Oh.
Okay. Unhooking from should. We have to use this awareness of ours, use it strategically. Once we do a thorough examination of our beliefs and motivation, we soon come to realize that we had been doing much that we don't even really think about. We were kind of doing much just because, or so it seems, but if we apply our new awareness with some thoroughness to examining our seemingly inadvertent behavior, beliefs, and motivations, we see inevitably that from some form of the villain should is involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the villain should.
We are
This is our villain in our stories. The arch villain. The arch villain should.
we are suckers for the corruption and influence of should. Here it is that awareness can have a huge effect on our happiness. Because when we come to be aware of should and how easily we are manipulated by should into doing the most ridiculous of things, we see its false power and we can free ourselves from its subtle but powerful grip. Wow.
In other words, we
Yes.
should be superior. We should be better than. We should push others down to make ourselves look better. We should pull others down to make ourselves look better. We should look better. Look better. We should. Uh, this is the policy and the culture of the grossly insecure and immature and ludicrous and preposterous that have now pushed this because this is what they do and they realize it's nonsense, and in order to legitimize it, they try and get everybody to do it. It's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible. Should.
Yes.
Yeah. This is one form of it. Many other shoulds, right? Well, okay, I mean, like, I'm friends with somebody and somebody else comes. Jealousy. Jealousy comes from should. Ignorance. Like, again, being, well, you should or you shouldn't sort of be too clever or stuff like that, and then you end up being okay with being ignorant. It's a lot of shoulds, right? Yeah. You should always promote yourself. You should always be boosting yourself, right? It's just so many shoulds that are just ridiculous. Anyway, please keep going. Please keep going. Deliberate living.
Yes. Deliberate living. The application of our awareness, the use of it on overcoming what has been limiting
On
our
uncovering.
happiness, cause and oh, what I read.
Overcoming. Read what's written, not what's believed to be written. My editor said, "Oh, did I mistake that?" Okay, yeah.
Should practice right on live. You guys can see that. Okay.
It's brilliant. Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Deliberate living.
Yeah.
The application of our awareness, the use of it for uncovering what has been limiting our happiness, causing unhappiness, now leads us to think clearly and be able to make free choices. Despite us having believed if it had been so, this all
Yeah.
leads to that most marvelous use of awareness,
Yeah.
deliberate living. Wow. When our
Yeah.
actions are truly deliberate, purely because we want to do them, because we choose them, that's when joy, or to me, next level happiness comes into our lives. That's a profound joy that comes from living deliberately, from our very every action having significance. That deliberateness adds power to even the ordinary. Everything takes on meaning and purpose. Everything is significant, important, vital, necessary, chosen, which brings that magnificent joy and happiness. We are joyful and happy when we live deliberately because we
Yeah.
are choosing freely. And of course, we would not choose what we choose if we did not see some good reason for the choice. And if there is a good reason, well, that speaks for itself. The
Yeah.
magic of deliberation transforms the mundane into sublime.
Yeah. Oh. The magic of deliberate living transforms the mundane into the sublime. I think, Beena, I am going to put that on its own line. Yes, like that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, and deliberate living is a hyphenated term. It's part of our dictionary of power. Yes.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Do I have deliberate living? Yes, I have it here as well. All right. All right. All right. Are we getting somewhere? Are we getting somewhere in this, the key to happiness, right? What's the key
Oh,
to true
yes. Oh,
happiness and
yes.
success? Yeah,
Freedom, freedom to choose.
exactly. And you
Awareness, of
get that
course.
freedom to choose from developing your awareness. The answer, Biella says, is awareness, correct?
Yes,
And
yes,
awareness that
yes,
leads to the
yes.
freedom to choose. Correct. You just took it to the end. Right, 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 right. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Awareness. We come back again to where we started as to the key to happiness. Awareness is that key. Without awareness, without truly knowing and understanding, and without being able to see past the misbeliefs that lead to no hope motivations, without being able to see imposters like should for what they are, we have little real hope of real lasting happiness.
Yeah.
Without awareness, whose life are we living? Not ours. Without living our own life, which we need awareness to do. How can we really be happy? Never mind living a life with joy. Awareness is the key. Awareness is the magic sauce. Awareness is the mechanism, the magic that, when employed, when put to full use, leads us to that freedom of being, which is deliberate, purposeful, meaningful, and thus joyful living to happiness.
No,
To
and
living,
thus joyful living. Full stop.
okay, and thus to joyful living, to
No, just
happiness,
that's joyful living. Read the
meaning,
whole
and
sentence
thus,
again.
okay, yes, I'm reading it again, the paragraph.
Yeah.
Awareness is the key. Awareness is the magic sauce. Awareness is the mechanism, the magic that, when employed, when put to full use, leads us to that freedom of being, which is deliberate, purposeful, meaningful, and thus joyful living, to happiness, to living for real.
Yeah.
Be alive.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I think I must make this a bit more, yeah. Yeah. Leads us to. Yes.
Yes.
There we go. Right, because it's awareness is the mechanism, la 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 la, that leads us to, yes, when put to full
Yes.
use, leads us to freedom of being, which is deliberate, meaningful, purposeful, and thus joyful living. Awareness leads us to happiness. I think I must repeat awareness, yes. Right? Awareness leads
Yes.
us to happiness, to living for real. And now this can be one sentence, right? To living
Yes.
for real. I think I want to emphasize living as well. Awareness leads us to happiness, to living for real, because living, when emphasized, is deliberate living. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Biella. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's very interesting, Beena. Very interesting how this article, the way it's written, it didn't grab you. Yes.
No, no,
Yeah.
sorry, you misunderstood this.
Oh.
It grabbed me. I was trying to understand it with the complete fullness of it. I was not saying that okay, it
Oh,
was
oh,
difficult or complicated. No, but
uh,
it had mostly what happens that okay, the way I'm reading and it is like clicking,
yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, done. But it
yeah,
was like, oh, okay, so I'm losing a track that what she asked actually. So okay, yes, we were talking about the
ah,
real true happiness. So now Biala is making a connection
yeah,
to the real true happiness, not only to the awareness, but also she's describing what happiness really is. So in an
yeah.
indirect, she was describing it also that we assume that what happiness mean and what
Correct,
real joy
correct,
means. So that
correct.
was something like, okay, oh, so now she's
Yeah,
talking it
yeah,
in a different way.
yeah,
So yes,
yeah,
she's addressing the answer that, okay, what is, how we can be happy and all that. But she's
yeah,
also explaining what we misunderstood about happiness and
yeah,
joy. So
yeah.
that was something
Exactly.
I was trying to
Yeah,
understand that
yeah, yeah.
okay, as much as I
Right.
can.
And to connect deliberate living to happiness to awareness. How do you live deliberately without awareness? You cannot.
That's why I was being trying to pay
Right?
as much attention as I can.
Deliberateness implies making a conscious choice that you are choosing. You are choosing it purposefully, meaningfully, significantly, right? Deliberately, in other words. Yeah? And you can't choose deliberately if you're unaware. It's unawareness precisely means non-deliberate, right?
Yes.
Doesn't unaware mean non-deliberate?
Yes.
I think I want to quote here. Yes, to say, yeah, do you agree, Beena?
And we are living precisely means living in awareness. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I want to hyphenate this living in unawareness. Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. That yes, I could hyphenate this also. It actually adds to the meaning of it. Unaware living precisely means living in unawareness. Okay.
Few things are like just
Yeah,
but it doesn't make uh
exactly. Exactly. It just enhances the article to put that quote in there, right?
no also that it is needed.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It enhances the article. It was very much needed. Yeah, so I put it in there. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. This is an article that, or this chapter. By the way, I just want to comment on the pictures. For awareness, look at this, the landscape, and then this giant, massive eye that's kind of the sky. It's like the universe, right? Like
Yes.
overview
Yes.
awareness. It's just totally fantastic to me. And this one too, just the brilliance of awareness, the eye, choice, deliberate, right? I don't know, that was very cool. And then, of course, the key to true happiness and success, that the implication that we don't want to stay in our primate form. As aware as Coco is, she's very limited. I mean, she's basically, I think, the equivalent of like a 6-year-old child or 10-year-old child or something like that, right? But still, it's incredible though, yeah. And there's over the years, she's developed a maturity that, and a kind of a peculiar wisdom that well, sometimes you see it in children, but not typically, because they don't stay at that awareness or that level of vocabulary, etc. Right? So Coco is, this is a very good example of awareness where we expect unawareness, right? Look at this expression, right? Yeah. I mean, she knows what she said. She knows what she's done to cause this reaction, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot here. I mean, it's also implying there's evolution, yes? And the girl might be sillier than Coco. She might be a mindless
Yes.
girl. We don't know. Yeah, so potentially, right? Just foolishly being amused. And Coco is like, silly child. Yeah. See what I mean? So this is so
Yes.
much in this picture here. So much, so much, so much. Yeah, yeah. They're not chosen randomly. So some of these pictures I won't be switching out, Beena. I'm going to leave them, like in this case. Right? These are all really excellent. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right. All right. Uh, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Yeah, yeah. Chapter 25.
Wow. Yeah, already there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. We're nearly done. We're nearly done. Sounds very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chapter 25. Usefulness and value. What is the thought experiment that you find extremely hard and or impossible?
Again,
Wow.
the questions, right? It's like,
Yes.
where do you come up with these questions, people? It's like, wow. It's,
What is a thought experiment that you find extremely hard and or impossible?
yeah.
Dear David, I had to think long and hard about this. But
See, look at Peter's cheekiness. I mean,
but
Bialla's cheekiness there, right?
yes,
The
but
question itself is a thought experiment. That's hard or impossible. By implication. Anyway, that's just little private amusement. Oh, yeah.
yes.
It's not
But
necessarily
not
overtly funny, but if you kind of think, if you know Biella a little bit and you know her multi-layeredness and her sense of humor, you'll know it's true and accurate, but also there's a bit of moreness there. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, keep going, keep going. Read again.
yes, okay. Usefulness and value. What is a thought experiment that you find extremely hard and or impossible? Dear David, I had to think long and hard about this. But not because of the difficulty of thought experiments, or which ones are particularly so, but because they are not a part of what I regularly engage in. I was even a bit hard pressed to come up with one I remembered. I
Hmm.
love thinking, and to me, an absolutely vital and much prized part of my psychology and thinking, which I particularly love, is to think things through to the end. Hmm. Actually, it's more like I have to. I can't leave thinking unfinished. Those are my thought experiments. Thinking all the
Yeah.
way to the end does not always necessarily mean resolution, solution, or similar. It simply means taking a line of thought as far as it can go. Often, this starts as something unresolved. Those particularly grab me. I can't let go until I find resolution, which brings me back to your question of thought experiments. Reliving as a choice. Here's one of my thought experiment I come back to often. Okay. How would we set things up in such a way as to force ourselves to learn? Oh, how we should set things up in such a way as to force ourselves to learn. To force ourselves to develop and enhance our awareness using what we have learned in life in another go round. Why this particular setup? Because it makes sense of and fits the available data and experience, which otherwise doesn't. The thought experiment is not about hypothetical, as most are, but about taking the existing facts of circumstance and finding an explanation that fits. For instance, the specific predilections. We could put this down to genetics, but if there is no history of such behavior or likes, it becomes difficult
There
to
must be
ascribe
no.
to
There
such.
must be no. Sorry.
Okay.
No, you read it right. You read it right. I mean, are you looking
Yes.
to read it incorrectly so that my ear catches it, right? But
Yes.
if there is now history, then well, it could be, but there is no history of such. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. But if there is no history of such behavior or likes, it becomes difficult to ascribe to such sources. But we could say could be because we just don't have access to detailed information regarding our ancestors. But what about predilections, which are precise, specific, detailed, which do not make sense in terms of any possible genetic factors, since they are too precise, too specific, which do not even make sense in terms of our youth, but come into play in later life? Then the sense of it all falls into makes sense in terms of our youth. Okay, sorry, falls into place. Uh, then the sense of it all falls. Uh, then the sense of it falls into place. How would such factors be explained?
Then the sense of it falls into place, not when.
Then, no, no, this is I was reading right,
Oh.
but
Then the sense of it falls into place. How would
it
such
was
factors
sense of it
be explained?
all. I was just keep reading it. Sense of it all falls into place. Sense.
Yeah. No, it's definitely then the sense of it falls into place. Yeah.
Yes, I was just
Yeah.
I was reading it. Sense of it all falls into
Uh,
place. So that's why I repeated. Okay. Ah,
all right, working backwards. Again, we have to see where Biella's going with this, right? She's setting things
yes.
up, and we can't quite get the sense of it yet because we need more. So we have to keep going. Yeah.
Oh yes. Working backwards. Instead of relating a mountain.
Sorry. 1 second. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, keep going. I just want to
Okay.
fix this here. It must be in the center, but I'm just
Okay. Working
editing,
backward.
formatting nonsense.
Instead of relating a mountain of personal detail which would need a book, I'd rather like to go to the end and work from there. Assume a hypothesis to be true and then see how well it fits.
Oh,
See what it means. And most of all, see how we can extract value and usefulness from our position. That's the key. That's why I'm not a particular fan of typical thought experiments. They need to result in applicable usefulness and value to me. Without application, it's all meaningless.
right. I mean, typical
So,
thought experiments were like to say, well, if Superman meets Mighty Mouse, what happens? That kind of stuff, you know? They don't
uh,
have any real value. They just completely hypothetical. That's what they mean thought experiments here, right? Now, of course, you can define thought experiments any way you like, but in the typical thought experiments, they right, that's an extreme version of it. Some others may be a bit more serious, but still, they taking circumstances that are so unrealistically hypothetical. They're never going to happen in real life. So what's the point of figuring it out? What would happen if this happens, right? It's kind
yes,
of there's no point to it. I mean, yes, you could say what Biella does when she thinks things through to the end is a kind of a thought experiment, but not really, because it's not an experiment. It's figuring something out, which is kind of different, right? You're not testing to see what would happen and what's the result here, right? You're actually just figuring it out. All right, keep going, keep going, keep going.
yes. Without application, it's all meaningless.
Hmm.
So, what's the proposition? The idea with my thought experiment. It's that somehow we get to carry over what we learned in this life to another. Wow. Okay. But there are complicating factors. We have to decide what's useful. There is a limited amount we can bring with us. Why? Because if we retained full memory, especially memory that this mechanism exists, we'd be effectively immortal and we'd lose the power of death as a motivator.
Oh, what a statement. What a statement from Biella. We'd lose the power of death as a motivator.
Yeah.
Big, big statement. Big statement.
Being immortal could easily result in a perpetual and entrenched in
Indolence.
indolence
Yeah.
and apathy. There is no need. So why bother? Thus, specific memories are out. The same applies for inventions and knowledge that are time sensitive, since the do over or repeat might not be in sequential time, or may even be a time loop. If we knew stuff we had no business knowing, that would give the game away. Any foreknowledge would fall into that category. Wow.
Right. So her thought experiment is to look at and understand, right, how kind of our life works and how we have predilections, how we know things we have no business knowing. Yes.
Yes.
And again, her thought experiment, to be more precise, to go back up here, right, is to say uh, uh, reliving as a choice. Yes. How would we
Yes.
set up things in such a way as to force ourselves to learn? Yes, to force ourselves to
Yes.
develop and enhance our awareness using what we have learned in life in another go round. Yeah, actually, I think what I want to do here is put that in italics. Yes, and actually to
Yes.
put it in its own like this. Yeah, all right. Actually, I think I need to actually put another space there. So it's just completely on its own, right? Like this. Yeah.
Yep.
I come back too often. Yes, one of my thought experiments I come back too often because now we are dealing with a completely hypothetical thing that we cannot say is real, right? It might be, but the thought experiment is if this were realistically taken to be realistically so, how would it work? Yes? Right? So how would we set our things up in such a way as to force, in inverted commas, force ourselves to learn, capital L learn, to force ourselves to develop and enhance our awareness using what we have learned in life in another go round, right? So this is to
Yep.
say, how can I utilize what I'm learning now next time? Or how am I uh, benefiting now from things I learned previously? Yeah, by implication.
Yes.
Yes. All right. There's a very, very powerful uh, thought experiment, right? Because there's some usefulness to this, as we're going to see. All right. So we get to good character. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good character. Patience, discipline, forbearance, discernment, understanding, insight, and of course, the most important of all, awareness. Those are valuable and useful in any time, in any circumstance, in any life. When we consider what we are, who we are, what qualities and character traits we came with, especially if we look carefully how we started, what sensibilities and understandings we had before we had opportunity to acquire them by experience, we start to see our life from an entirely new perspective, one that opens up many new possibilities. If
Yeah.
we assume we came to be in this, if we assume we came to be in this life because of some sort of choice, a choice which came from our sensibilities, from who we are, and more specifically, we are in this life for a very specific reason, because we need to learn. We need to learn specifically what we ourselves know. We need to learn. Sorry, we ourselves know. We need to learn. Considering this, it opens up the possibility that perhaps we choose the circumstances of our birth, because these would leverage us, force us, put us in the best position to learn what our deep self needs to learn. Look, for instance, say we come to realize toward the end of the last go round, after much soul searching and finally coming to an honest awareness about ourselves, that we are a raging narcissist. Might we not then perhaps choose narcissist parents? There are many options, of course, but if we feel that we need to see the detriments from
Yeah.
early on, thoroughly and clearly, so as to put us completely off any idea of narcissism or ego. This would be a strategically valuable choice.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, for instance, say we come to realize towards the end of the last go round, after much soul searching and finally coming to an honest awareness about ourselves, that we are a raging narcissist. Might we not then perhaps choose narcissist parents? There are many options, of course, but if we feel we need to see the detriments from early on, most thoroughly and clearly, so as to put us completely off the idea of any idea of narcissism either, this would be a strategically valuable choice. Yeah, this needs some punctuation here. There are many options, of course, but if we feel we need to see the detriments from early on, most thoroughly and clearly, so as to put us completely off any idea of narcissism or ego, this would be a strategically valuable choice. See the detriments of what early on. I don't want to say of narcissism, because I don't want to repeat narcissism, yeah, or ego, of
Yes.
right self-importance, of inappropriate self-importance. Yes.
Yes.
Importance. Come
Oh,
on, A. There we go. There are many options, of course, but if we feel we need to see the detriments of inappropriate self-importance from early on, most thoroughly and clearly, so as to put us completely off any idea of narcissism or ego, this would be a strategically valuable choice. What is this? Ah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Right. Let's read that again. So I edited this quite considerably. There are many options, of course, but if we feel we need to see the detriments of inappropriate self-importance from early on, most thoroughly and clearly, so as to put us completely off any idea of narcissism or ego. Birth circumstances into such a family would be a strategically valuable choice. Yes?
Yes.
Now the question was why we would then choose narcissistic parents. Yes? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make that very clear. Yeah. It's a very important point. So let's continue. Benefit either way. Right. Now this is very magical. This is a very deep article, this one, because it was a very deep question, right? So it's a kind of a big deal. All right. Please continue, Beena. Benefit either way.
Yep. Why just froze it for me? Oh.
Okay. You want me to read? Where'd you go, Beena? I think Beena may be dropping, so I'm going to continue reading just for continuity's sake, because I think she's busy dropping. If she doesn't respond like this, she's either muted and she doesn't know she's muted, or she's busy dropping and there's a delay. Benefit either way. Here's the thing. My thought experiment may seem fanciful, far-fetched, unrealistic, and it could very well be, but that matters little to me. I extract value and usefulness, whether it's true or not. Yeah, see, there's the little sound that means Venus dropped. I extract value and usefulness, whether it's true or not. That deserves that exclamation. Living as if it's true has great benefit. It makes for a life focused on acquiring the qualities of good character, and those, as we have established, are valuable and useful in any circumstance, including the here and now. Focusing on the abstract values of life enables us to enjoy, be happy, and to be enabled. With those qualities, we have the fundamental tools to acquire what we need. If we have the underlying qualities that enable learning, we can do anything, learn what's needed. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. If we have the underlying qualities which enable learning, we can do anything, learn what's needed. We can do anything, learn whatever's needed, I think is better. Learn whatever's needed. But without being able to learn, I mean from an attitudinal mindset perspective, it doesn't matter how much we technically are capable of learning. Bad character will get in the way. Will always get in the way. Yes. Will always get in the way. Well, I could go on about my thought experiment, but to keep it short and to answer your question, to me, the thought experiment I wrestle with most is the one of resolving the mystery of our existence from the perspective of making all the anomalous facts of our being fit. It's to me all about resolving all the conundrums that comprise our particular individualities. Individualities. There we go. Right. It's to me all about resolving all the conundrums that compromise our particular individualities. You could call it the thought experiment of self-discovery. Yeah. Wow. Individualities. What's wrong here? Yeah, learn the spelling. Individualities. Yeah, that's right. You could call it the thought experiment of self-discovery. It's particularly hard or impossible because we'll only know for sure via death, and then it could all turn out to be fanciful nonsense. And that's a chance I'm not willing to take. So it leverages me to make the most of life and learning in the meantime, and to prepare as best I can, just in case. Now, getting value either way. And thus, there we go. And thus, getting value either way, whether it's true or not. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit of a condensed. This is really, this thought experiment here. It's really a whole book just on its own. When you really take this all the way through, it is the core, or one of the core conceptions and understandings and awarenesses and points and purposes and focuses of Nobelia-Living. Right? Way of impeccability is a toolbox for preparing for death. However, we don't want to be only just focused on death and preparing for death and forgetting how to live, because preparing for death involves some assumptions. We're assuming that if I'm preparing for death, there's something there. If death just is a stop, a nothingness, and a no more, is no preparing for it, right? It's just absolutely nothing. He's not going to make you be nothing any better or worse. You're going to be nothing. So it's pointless, right? However, so we don't want to put all of our focus on preparing for death exclusively, because it might turn out to be nothing. So it could be and it couldn't be. So we have to take that into consideration and say, how can I prepare for death and not lose out if it's nothing, and benefit if it's something, if there is something else? By taking my preparation and combining it with living to the best and most that I possibly can. Really? Wow, yes. In other words, if I set my life in such a way that living fully, purposefully, deliberately, excellently, living with awareness, with deliberation, living with purpose, living with constructed awareness. Yes, living with the moreness of self, living with character. Yes, living with integrity and discipline and sobriety and thoughtfulness, yes, and joy and appreciation and all of the moreness things in my dictionary of power, these profound power conceptions. Practicing to live this way. Yes, because these are abstract conceptualities. By me practicing to live this way, how am I also not preparing for death in the event that there is something more than death? All of those qualities I mentioned, all of the qualities in my dictionary of power, right? Awareness, attention, attunement, patience, deliberation, right? Thoughtfulness, perseverance, persistence, scrupulousness, conscientiousness, appreciation, joyfulness, right? Being able to choose joy, not just have it come externally, right? Mood management, in other words. All of these, I can go on. My dictionary of power is long, right? All of these qualities are useful in any life, any. Doesn't matter what the afterlife is, whether it's some spiritual thing, some weird thing, some completely new reality, some I go back in the past, I go into the future. What difference does it make? Yes. Learning how to think, learning how to be, right? Learning how to learn. When I develop those as innate qualities that I truly understand, that I can carry over with me. Yes, this is powerful. This is powerful. Now I'm ready. I'm ready for anything, which is exactly what preparing for death is. It is preparing to be ready for anything. We don't know what it is. So by learning to be ready for anything in this life, I get the value of this character application, this learning, this growth, this toolbox, making it my own, right? By living fully in this life in this way, not in a way which is focused on status or wealth or stuff like that. All right, you could have those, but they're not the focus. Just by the way, if attunement brings them, so be it. But the focus on being more, in other words, right, being fully competent at living prepares me for death. Way of impeccability, a toolbox for deliberate living. That's its subtitle, it's its tagline, right? A toolbox for deliberate living. This is incredible. And when we can learn to live deliberately in full consciousness, in full awareness, right? Now it's ours. We're choosing to do so. We're not just happening to live deliberately. We're not just happening to be happy. No, we are being happy and purposeful and everything because we are deliberately doing so. That deliberation means it's coming from me. It's not just coming about, well, sort of because it's deliberate. It means that in whatever life I may find myself, whatever circumstance, whatever death reveals, because it's deliberate, I can now again apply it deliberately, right? It's not conditional to the circumstances. That's very key. My deliberate living comes from me. Most people's living comes about because of their reaction, their reactivity, their response to life and circumstance and situation and others. No, that's not deliberate living. That's responsive, reactive living. Very different thing, right? We don't want to just be reacting. We don't want, in other words, we don't want our way of being to be a consequence of circumstance and environment and stuff. No, no, must come from inside, right? So when from a death point of view, whatever comes, I don't care. It doesn't matter because I am me. And my me is able to generate and produce my joy, my happiness, my awareness, my deliberation, my power, my focus, my sensibility, my strategicness, my safety, etc., etc., etc. Yes, this is a profound thing. Way of impeccability is not a simple deal. It is a most incredibly profound and magical set of tools, 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 not a belief system. There's no belief involved. It's what makes way of impeccability a way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like you could say way of the carpenter, way of the construction worker. Yeah, doesn't matter. Same thing. Learn to use the tools. That's what it's all about, right? If you're a construction worker or a carpenter, you're not necessarily designing the thing. You might, but you're basically building what somebody else wants, or you're building something that, yeah, you're able to construct something, not to believe in it. Yes, that's it. You don't need to believe in the person's that this is a wonderful thing. Yeah, you able to construct it. Your value is in constructing whatever it is that's needed, that's appropriate, what you want. Yeah, yeah, very powerful. I mean, of course, when you're constructing for yourself, you get to choose, but you first need to learn the tools of construction. Anyway, this article, in other words, is a very big deal, and it's a taste. It's a taste of the moreness which comes in the Biella series, right? Nobelia-Living, in other words, right? It's a taste. It's a taste. It's a very big deal taste. Let's see if Norma's had any comments. I think I'll put Norma to sleep, I think. And we'll see. I'm just refreshing Norma to see if there's any comments from you. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of them. Oh, Master. Oh, hi, Master. Hi, Master. I like all three pictures, especially the eye within nature. Yes, yes, it's a very, very cool picture. That thoughts are definitely immortal. Oh, very cool, Master. I'm so thrilled you're here, Master. I'm very thrilled you're here. I'm very thrilled here. I'm sorry I saw your comments a bit late. They don't update dynamically. I have to refresh to see them. And sometimes I get a bit involved, like now. I got involved in this next one. But yeah, that previous picture, and let me just go back there in case somebody's not watching. I mean, this was the first picture. This is the second picture. But this picture, the one that Meister is referring to, the eye within nature, as a representation of awareness, it's incredible to me. Because, you can have awareness and somebody's just standing here in nature and they got like a bright bubble around them. Yes. Or they're radiating, like rays of light coming out from them. That could be a representation of awareness. But this one isn't just showing the picture in the sky from overview, right? Because that's also, okay, overview awareness, bigger picture awareness. But what I particularly like about this is that this I is integrated with nature, right? There's no differentiation, right? I mean, maybe you can say that the nature here is horizontal and the I is vertical, but it's all enfolded, right? This is folding up, right? See, it's all built into it. It's all part of one and the same. That is what makes me so cool on this picture, that the awareness is integrated with life, right? Are we just taking this nature scene to be life? Huh? It's integrated. It's one and the same, but yet it has, through this different perspective from the vertical to the horizontal, it has a perspective on life while at the same time being part of life. Yes, this very, very cool. Very cool. Yes, very cool comment there. Thank you, Master, to pay attention to that. Yes. And when we understand that, thoughts are definitely immortal, we have to be careful with our thoughts, right? We're putting something out there. Yes. Again, it's, when you look at thoughts, especially particular thoughts of motivation and intent, you're putting out an energy out into the universe, right? That floats about and exists, adds, subtracts. So we want to be putting things out that add. Yes. Doesn't matter that it's speculative. A speculative thought adds because you're looking to add discussion, perspective. These add, yeah. But just nastiness, horribleness, they don't really add to anything. Just attract. Yeah. No point to it. No point to it. No value. No purpose. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. This is awesome that you're here, Meister. Really awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I do typically keep an eye on those things, but because Beena dropped off now, I wasn't able to refresh, to respond to the comments in more real time. Yeah. And Norma says, essential for oneness and with heart in control. Yes, absolutely, Norma. Absolutely, absolutely. All of this. This was from something earlier, but that's always the point. Yes. And again, when we say heart in control, we have to understand that heart needs to have awareness. This is the point of us. We don't want to lose our heart. We don't want to get all intellectual because then you stop feeling, and then what's the point of it? Yeah. So when we say heart, though, if we are too emotional, we lose sensibility and sobriety and thoughtfulness and all of the stuff. So when we're saying a heart in control, it means heart has acquired consciousness, has acquired deliberation, has acquired choice, has acquired awareness. Likewise, when we say mind, mind needs to acquire heart. So when we're talking about capital A awareness, it is combining heart and mind and soul and spirit and being and feeling and thinking and all of these things. It is to live with the totality of ourselves. The moment we start thinking heart, mind, we start separating and dividing ourselves and we lose the benefits. We can't just have heart. Sorry, that doesn't work. It does not work. It makes us foolish. We get too emotional. We jump to conclusions. We start assuming because our emotions have now, we feel something strongly when we all heart. And when we feel something strongly, we create a reality to support what we feel. This is how we have entertainment and stuff like this, yeah. And that can be very dangerous because we can through heart, because we don't have discernment, we could misunderstand. The misunderstanding leads to a strong feeling. The strong feeling creates a reality that supports the strong feeling. Now we're in a great big mess, right? And this happens a lot. This happens a lot. People don't realize it happens because they just accept the reality that they've now created because of the way they feel. So we need to have that discernment, that sobriety to be able to assess and evaluate and perceive without having distortion, right? Because confirmation bias is a very profound thing, incredibly profound, very big deal, where we create our own realities based on our beliefs. We have to be very cautious of this. We want to use this, get really sophisticated, and use this very purposefully and deliberately, right? But to create a reality that's open, a reality that is got awareness, development, and enhancement built into it. We're going to use that powerful confirmation bias that we can do this to create that. So we have to be very cautious here of separating out things like thinking, mind and heart, yes, and body and soul and all of these things. We want to look at the totality. We want to be all of it all together so that we can use it all appropriately. That's why appropriateness is the core of everything. It's the starting point. Appropriate. Is it appropriate? To be all heart, not appropriate. Get you into trouble all the time. To be all mind, just as inappropriate. Yes. We have to say we can't just have this either or. We see the detriments of being too mind orientated. And then we say, oh, but we must go to heart, right? And likewise, we say we see the detriments of being all heart, being too emotional. And we say, oh no, we must be mind. That's the mentality of opposites. It's never either or, people. It's not just black and white. There's color, there's color, there's color, there's color. Don't forget the color. Without color, it's like kind of a bit pointless. Yeah? You take all the joy out, take all the moreness. So color, when it comes to either or thinking, color is the moreness. We've got to learn to stop thinking if it's not one thing, it's the other. If it's not black, then it must be white. Must be. What the absolute nonsense. If it's not black, it can be any color out there. Likewise, if it's not white, it must be black. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But we think this. We've been taught to think this way through mentality of opposites, right? And it's completely false. We tend to have this belief put into us that everything has an opposite, which is complete nonsense. Yes, absolute nonsense. Yeah, like in the black-white experiment, right? There's colors, right? So this is like, yeah, black has an opposite, but that's not all there is. There are other alternatives beside the opposite. Yeah. I mean, you could say, in one sense, you could say any color is the opposite of black or white. Because certainly pink is not white. Yes, red is not black. Yeah. How do you define opposite? It's a mess. It's a messy thinking. Hello, Beena. Beena's back again. I
Yes,
heard the ding dong.
hello.
I heard the ding dong. I'm just going
Yes,
in.
yes.
And Master joined us, Beena. Look, Master says, hi, here I
Oh,
am. I was a little slow
hello,
in
Master.
seeing the comment. I hope you're still here, Master. Yeah, I hope you didn't feel ignored. It's very important. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe reply to that. I was just talking about the importance of living with the totality of ourselves, not just to live with heart or with mind, or to live with the totality. Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Hello, Master. That was really a good surprise to see you here.
Yeah.
Continue reading?
No, I think we can. We're gonna end here now because we have other
Okay.
things we need to do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just a good time. I would like to. I mean, we have time, I suppose. If you want to, we can read another one. Yeah. I just wanted to say hello to Meister there and just reply to her, here I am. In
Yes.
case she's already left and she's not hearing this, that she can see, uh, she can see that when, it'll pop up on our notifications. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun that you're here, Meister. It's fun. Because I saw it kind of late in the day because when you left, I got very involved in the article, and also I was saying that
Oh,
this chapter
it
is
was my
really,
network drop, so I missed that.
yeah. So I was saying, Beena, when you left, I was saying this chapter is a condensation of one of the absolute core elements of Nobelia-Living, which is preparing for death. Yeah, well, that's kind of morbid. Okay. It is preparing Nobelia-Living, is living in such a way that your day-to-day living gives you profound value. And at the same time, it prepares you for dealing with any circumstance. Any, not just any circumstance found in life, but any circumstance potentially found in afterlife, in alternative life, in simultaneous life. Yes, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Yeah. This is the key. It is living in such a way. I'm repeating, I'm just going to do a repeat back, say it in a different way. Nobelia-Living is living in such a way that the now living, the day to day, the minute to minute, the second by second provides incredible value and usefulness, provides moreness upon moreness, is wonderful, is magical, is awesome, is fantastic. And all caps, emphasized, italicized, and that awesomeness of living in the now also provides and prepares for living in any circumstance, any, including those that are potentially post death. Yeah. So this is, in other words, it is it is eating your cake and having it also. Yes. People say that backwards. Yes. I mean, if you have your cake and
Yes.
eat it also, isn't that what you always do? I always have my cake and then I eat it. Like duh. But I can't eat
Yes.
it and then have it, right? So it has to be the other way around. When I was a kid, it was the other way around. It got turned around somewhere. I don't know where. Anyhow, so the new nobility, Nobelia-Living is about having maximum benefit both ways, now and later. Yes, getting it both
Mm.
ways, right? So Nobelia-Living is getting the most out of life in the most incredible, profound ways, and it's about preparing. Because if we only prepare for death and we're all focused on death and the afterlife, we may forget to live, or be like working towards a goal, and you don't really get any joy of living because you're only preparing. That's no good, right? It's like preparing for a flood that never comes. Yes. I mean, we only know about Noah because Noah built the ark and the flood did come, but there were many others who built arks and the flood never came. We didn't hear about them. They lost to history. Yeah. They wasted their lives, in
Yes.
other words. Yeah. It turned out okay for Noah, but he was was the exception. Right? Well, at least hypothetically. I'm making my point though that we can prepare for something, and if it doesn't happen, then we sort of wasted our lives. If it does happen, all right, great. But in terms of applying capital S strategy, which is strategic living, Nobelia-Living, strategic living. It is getting the most out of life now and preparing at the same time, maximum multi-layered benefit. It's not an either or, right? It's living in color. You preparing, getting the benefit, and you getting the maximum out of life now. The two go together. They're the same thing. This is profound. This is profound. Is it not, Beena? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. It is.
A big deal. A big deal, in other words, right? Big deal.
Exactly.
Big deal. All right. Let's see what the next one is. And uh, what is something that always makes you happy? All right. This is a short one. Okay. Okay. Let's read this one, Beena.
Okay.
Chapter 26.
Okay. Chapter 26.
Hmm.
Earnest goodness. What is something that always makes you happy? Oh, it is why it is jumping for me. Okay. Anyway, dear Shaya, earnest goodness always makes me happy. Much adds to my positivity, but earnest goodness especially delights me. Much is okay, it is continuously jumping for me, sir.
I don't know. That's on your side. I don't know. I don't know.
But how could it be my side? I'm not sharing, changing your screen. So, okay. Anyway, but earnest goodness especially delights me. Much is good and nice and wonderful, and thus makes me happy, makes us in general happy. But most such things do not make an active effort to make life good, make it better, merely by being. However, earnest goodness does. It adds to the world, increases it, improves it, changes it, keeps it going, prevents it from imploding, and all sorts of other goodness, just by being earnestly good.
Yeah.
Earnest goodness tries, even without knowing, even knowing that it doesn't know. But this doesn't matter. Earnest goodness tries anyways. This makes me happy. We don't know pretty much everything, yet despite that, we can try and try, thus persisting, and eventually we figure it out. This is what makes me happy about earnest goodness. It makes me joyful to see Earnest's goodness quietly and without fuss working in the background. It's Earnest's goodness that keeps the world going round. More than that, Earnest's goodness is inspiring, not always in a direct way, but indirectly. How many are motivated to go out and do what Earnest's goodness encourages them to, inspires them to, and is the reason for whom they act? Hope and positivity.
Yeah.
Earnest goodness is like the fibers of the okay. It's like the fibers of the body, that is the strength that holds it all together, but also the flexibility which allows it to adapt. Earnest goodness will do its best to accommodate, but only up to a point. Then we see that is strength. This makes me happy. A powerful understanding to remember when we look at the seeming chaos and despair, at the impending havoc. Just knowing that earnest goodness can only be stretched so far until it snaps back. Okay, until it snaps back with a vengeance. Vengeance.
Vengeance.
What
Yeah,
is
vengeance. Vengeance. Yeah, vengeance.
okay. With a vengeance. Gives me such much hope and encouragement and a trust in the underlying earnest goodness of the world. This makes me very happy. We would need to look at history and all the major social changes which have taken place, the driving force behind all of them. The enabling factor was that earnest goodness of the majority. Earnest goodness will take a lot, and it takes a lot for earnest goodness to take severe action.
Yeah.
But when needed, earnest goodness always does so because earnest goodness is also fundamentally honest. This keeps me positive.
Yeah. For example, e.g.
Okay. Earnest goodness is what keeps hope alive, keeps goodness alive, keeps sensibility alive. Earnest goodness is the wellspring of good character, and this makes me exceptionally happy. As long as there is earnest goodness, the world will keep on improving because earnest goodness
Yeah.
will never be content as long as it can improve and be better in meaningful, sensible, good ways. There is no limit to goodness, and earnest goodness knows that. This makes me extraordinarily happy. It is not for nothing. I believe that, for example, there is the abbreviation, e.g., is the abbreviation. For example, earnest goodness is indeed most excellent
Read
for a
that
good
again. Read that
example.
again, but you have to read e.g., not as example.
Okay,
You have to
okay,
read it as.
okay. It is not for nothing. I believe that EG is the abbreviation for example, abbreviation of, for example. Earnest goodness is indeed most excellent for a good example. It seems the universe has a sense of earnest good humor, and this makes me inordinately happy. Biella.
Right. See, e.g., which stands for, is the abbreviation for example, is also can stand for earnest goodness.
Yes.
Yeah. And did you see something, little bit of fun, Biella's writing? She kept on elevating the happiness, right? This
Yes.
makes me happy. This makes me very happy. This makes me extraordinarily happy. This makes me inordinately happy. Yeah, yeah. I just love that, for example, earnest goodness and for example is the same. Yeah. And I've got to add that to my abbreviations, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do that right now. Let's do that right now. We add this over here and we go control home and then we move to the right a couple times. This was just a fun thing that I've did in taking powerful concepts and looking at their abbreviations, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. It's self-explanatory. Right? Earnest goodness, for example. Yeah. Yeah. If we use earnest goodness, in other words, as an example, it's very powerful. Yes. Because earnest goodness is when you're making that effort to figure it out for yourself. This is what earnestness is. I really want to know. Yeah. Is that what earnest means? I really want to know.
Yes.
Yeah. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Just, I love that multi-layeredness of things. Yes. And we see how it all works together. And like I say, it seems like the universe has a sense of humor, at least in English.
Yes.
Right. Somebody from some other language says, well, what is earnest goodness in Urdu? And what is the example for the abbreviation for example, in Urdu? I think in Urdu it's probably EG as well, right?
No.
Not?
For example, maslan. This is a word.
Ah, ah, ah. And the abbreviation for that?
This is the abbreviation maslan, and the full form is misal ke taur par.
Oh, okay. So what is earnest goodness in Urdu?
Earnest goodness is.
Beena, Beena's, when it comes to uh, uh, profound conceptions, Beena's English vocabulary is much more extensive than a Urdu one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I need to find that, sir.
Ah, okay. Well, what is earnest in Urdu?
Gurdwar.
Think of children like an earnest child. How would you say that?
No, it is. I need to figure it out.
Ah,
It's not easy for me.
that's all right. That's all right. It just was, just one of those things that I'm just keen to know a little bit more. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, okay. We don't have to figure it out now. We can leave it for next time. Well, my
Yes.
point, because the point I'm making is, what did you say, for example, was the abbreviation of, for example?
Maslan.
Muslim. I don't think Muslim is going to mean, for example, sorry, it's going to mean also mean earnest goodness,
No,
right?
no.
Whereas in
It
English,
means
e.g., the
for an
abbreviation
example. For
for
example.
example, yeah, you see,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So that's why I said it seems that the universe, Biella says, as a sense of earnest good humor in English, right? At least in
Yes.
English, it doesn't apply in other languages. Yeah, I mean, I never forget that because yes, it's fun to say it here, you know what I mean? Um, and it makes for a nice point, yeah, but it's only in English, I never forget that people take this, they use it and they get all, they forget that English isn't the only language in the world or whatever language it is that they're writing in. Their language, they get into the bubble and they forget it's not the only language, right? So you can't say things like, it's like God and dog, the profoundness of God and dog, that connectivity, right? When you invert, you
Hmm.
get, like dog is God on in a very kind of an inverse way. It's a
Hmm.
profoundness to it, but only in English, right? Doesn't work in other
Yes.
languages. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
In Arabic, the word they have for God is, of course, is Allah. And
Correct.
the magic for that word for Muslims is that if you take out the first alphabet from it, it is going to stay same.
Right.
Second, stay
Right.
same.
Yeah.
Third,
Allah,
same.
Allah. It's the same. Exactly.
It
Yeah.
is it is going to be, even if you just keep it like just one single alphabet, it
Right.
is going to
Right.
say
Right. In
say the same.
pronunciation, it's palindromic, because you're saying,
No, it is in meaning also.
yeah,
Yeah, in meanings. It is
yeah,
going to stay the
yeah,
same meaning, like
exactly.
Allah.
Allah,
So this
Allah,
word
right?
cannot be, and it cannot be reverse,
Yeah,
like God and dog. So that no,
right, right.
it
It's
can't be
Allah,
reversed.
Allah either
It's going
way.
to stay
Correct.
same.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's also uh, the word in Aramaic for God is
Yeah.
also Allah.
Yes.
Aramaic
Yes.
being early
Jesus
Arabic,
language.
yeah, from which Arabic developed, right?
Yes.
It's very profound, very profound. And if we, take Jesus's principal language that he spoke in was Aramaic, when Jesus was on the cross and said, he was saying, Allah, why have thou forsaken me?
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't say God. God is the English word, right?
Yes.
It's not even the Greek word which the New Testament is written in. Oh, and
Yes.
that was a language that was used in the Middle East. And it was by
Mm.
like an elite language. Yes, it had been much of the language too that was common then, beside Aramaic, was Latin because of the Romans. But the Roman elite spoke Greek because that was just like a self-important type of a thing, right? And Greek and Latin for
Mm.
centuries were taught in schools, like in school like Eton, right? Everybody knows the private school Eton in England, this
Mm.
fancy school everybody goes to, right? One of
Mm.
the things you go there is you learn Greek and Latin. I don't know, I would not be surprised if they still have it. Why do you learn Greek and Latin? So that you can read the classics like Homer and all the other Socrates and Plato, read them in the Greek, but also read Latin because so many profound stuff was written in Latin in later years, right? So it enables you to have this connectivity to
Right.
moreness because of Latin and Greek. To me, if they really wanted to do this, I would include something like Sanskrit because there's a lot of profound stuff written in Sanskrit, right? That really is very helpful
Oh
to
yes.
in Sanskrit. So if you
Oh
want to
yes.
really have a more universal, not just a Western education, you need to add Sanskrit and probably you need to add Mandarin also. Yes. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So that would be the depth of it. And then somebody may say, well, what about, but other cultures that don't have a legacy of things that you can read. Yes, I mean, who
Hmm.
knows? Maybe the Aztecs wrote a lot of stuff, but we don't have it. It's not available, right? So it
Yes.
doesn't help to learn those languages. Yeah, there's not
Yes.
sufficient quantity of things to read. But in Sanskrit, there's tons of stuff. I mean, there's almost more stuff written there than there is in the Western libraries. Most people don't know this. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much in Mandarin. There's a lot, yes, but I don't know how depth it is. We know about Confucius and so on, and Lao Tzu and all this, but there's much more than we're aware of. In other words, it's kind of sad that we don't have this more in our thinking. Yes. Yeah. We just
Yes.
tend to get stuck on Western stuff. I never did. Right from the go, I always wanted to have more universal mindset. Yeah. Very important. Right. I mean, you
Yes.
could make a case for learning German as well, by the way.
Hmm.
Oh, the amount of fundamentally world-changing works, right? That at the time made a huge difference. Written in German, tons of them, tons of them. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to really be well-rounded, you need you need this, especially in Western. If you want to like Greek and Latin, you have to add German to it. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Yeah. But I like to be very universal, not just assume the one perspective because it's only one perspective. And, at least to the credit of Western culture, it it has a culture of incorporating things from outside, right? So when we talk meditation is an English word, but it's not an English from England concept. It's a Sanskrit concept.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's become part of the English
Yes.
word. Now, the word meditation may not be, but take yoga. Yoga is a standard English word now, right? but it comes from yogi and the
Yes.
practice of yogiism, right? And it's a Sanskrit
Yes.
specific word that's become an English word. And there are
Exactly.
many words like this.
Yes.
Bungalow also. English is a language takes on other things, right? And which is one of the magics of England, that
Yes.
of English, the language, that it doesn't just stay its own. It does take these other words and just wholesale just makes them into the language. It's a very powerful, very cool thing that English does in that way. So through English, which is why I like English, and I'm glad that English is my language, even though it doesn't sound so from my accent. It's a universal language to a large extent, right? That
Yes.
you can have access to all of these things. Yes, you can have access to them. So lots of concepts have come in and brought in. I mean, English has an incredibly extensive vocabulary. Yes, that is worldwide. Yeah, right. At least it
Yes.
leads you there. You can go further explore. But and two, because of English being so predominant, you can pretty much find translations for anything in English, right? I mean, if you're in another language, if you're looking to translate your work, you have to consider English, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, not necessarily, but look, like if you might be in India, and Hindi's the predominant language, but if you go down south, they got Tamil and all this, and you might say, well, I want to have be in Hindi and Tamil and Urdu. That could very well be, but I think you're losing a big market if you don't also translate into English. Yes, see what I mean?
Exactly.
So this is the magic of
Yes.
English. This is the magic of English, that it connects you by, a degree of separation. Yes. I mean, I can go from English, let's say from Hindi to English, and then from there to Tamil and Tamil back, yeah, through that jump, because everybody's going to translate it to English. They might not translate from Tamil into Urdu, yeah, but via English. So English is
Yes.
the connecting link to everything. Yeah, it's very, very helpful to be aware of English and to know English. Yeah, yeah. Urdu. Mein Apkol but baya kuti hun. Mine, probably. Mine Apkol but baya kuti
What?
hun. This is my
Huh?
pronunciation of, well, what does that say in Urdu? Mine or mine?
Where
Mine?
it is? Where it is? Where it
Norma,
is?
Norma shared this. Norma shared this. Let me screen share. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hold on. Norma was doing some Googling. Googling. Wonderful, Norma.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is not mene, it is me, which means I.
Yeah.
Me. And
Apko.
aapko means you, like I. Okay, aapko. And then she says bahut, like much. Okay.
Yeah.
आपको बहुत okay, it's not bear, it's pyar, pyar, pyar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, and and the cut, it's not CUTTY, it should be KARTI, like karti hu, like I
Karti.
I love you, I love you so much.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you, Norma. We didn't know where it was going. I thought it was Norma had
Oh
researched what
yes.
we were saying, for example, and Earnest goodness.
Yeah, this she
Wow.
might be listening from the voice, so
Yeah.
that it sounds
Yeah.
like. But
Exactly. That's
Norma, it
what she
is.
says. She says her spelling is incorrect. She's spelling it in English, correct. But
Oh
she
yes,
went
okay.
and she heard this, and then that's
Oh,
wonderful,
that's
Norma.
that's so wonderful,
That's very
Norma. That's
beautiful.
so
I
wonderful.
love you very much too,
Oh yes,
Norma.
oh
That's
yes, oh
wonderful.
yes. So that is
It's very cool.
it
It's
is.
so cool.
मैं, okay, I can say it in Urdu for you, Norma. मैं
Please
आपको बहुत प्यार करती
say it slower.
हूँ. We say, actually the right way is मैं आपसे बहुत प्यार करती हूँ.
And say each word individually, because otherwise they all run together and I can't hear the individual words.
Okay, okay. मैं आपसे बहुत प्यार करती हूँ.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So, Norma, aap is okay. Again, we have
It,
many
it
words
doesn't
for
matter, Beena.
you.
It's the intent of it. We don't have to
No,
have.
I have to say that because it will. She will get it different things like
Oh, I see.
tum, tu, aap. Okay, there are three words for you, which is of course as appropriately used. Aap is more formal and for with more respect and with
Yeah.
more yes, a bit of like you can say that making it more
Okay. So
official, kind of
Beena,
like
to
it.
help us here, type
Yes,
in Messenger to me
yes.
real quick. Type "I love you very much" in Urdu. Then I'll copy and paste it.
Okay, so Norma, I'm doing this. Okay,
Yeah.
but it is of course it is coming from a feminine side. If it will be from the masculine side, it will be karta hu.
Oh, well, type it from feminine to masculine because that's how it was said, and I'll make a comment there, feminine to masculine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I'm doing this. Okay, Norma, doing this. That is so wonderful, Norma. That is so
yeah.
beautiful
Very cool,
to put
Norma.
an effort and do this.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah, yeah. Most magical.
it's a beautiful gesture.
But maybe it was feminine to feminine. Maybe Norma was saying it to you, not to me.
No. Okay, either way, it doesn't
Ah,
make any difference. The gesture is so
oh,
beautiful.
okay. Well, no, but I mean the words may be that. See, it's very interesting, Norma, that there's right that we what post. Tell me what it is. I have no idea what you're removing, and I can't do anything about it. And I think they may be talking about posts in
Okay.
group, inappropriate posts in group. Okay, main. But how do you pronounce that?
No, may, may. Like may, we say that okay, but may.
So it's actually just M-A,
MAY, kind of like.
M-A-Y, May.
Yeah,
May up say
yeah, it is like
bohat
may.
pyar kanti hoon.
Oh yes. And the sound of N is half, like kati hoon, not hun. So it is kati
Ah,
hoon.
kati hum with a M.
Yes. No, but it is just a half sound.
Oh,
We we
hoon.
just we don't
Ah,
pronounce it
kati hoon.
full.
Ah,
Yes, so it's
ah,
kati hoon. Yes.
yeah,
And same with
yeah. It's not feminine to
yeah.
masculine. It's from feminine. Yes.
Yes, I'm typing.
Yeah, it's okay. I got it there. All right.
So
Brilliant.
I just added, so it is a response to that. Like okay, main bhi means I also. So me too, kind of. Love you so much. So this is what
Yeah.
it is.
How do you mean, Veena? I'm not following.
I'm just saying that okay, I just put it there that from the masculine side, but it's like main bhi, like
Oh,
okay,
oh.
I also
Ah,
love
I
you so
see.
much. So,
I see. Eh, if they reply, they'll add also.
yes.
Okay. All right. That's a very good note for us to end on. That's a very good note for us to end on. Thank you, Norma. Thank you for the moreness, Norma. Just earnest goodness. The earnest goodness. Majda, Norma, Beena, hopefully me. Exemplifications for me of earnest goodness and the magic and the awesome of earnest goodness. Yes. Goodness on its own
Yes.
is wonderful, but it doesn't necessarily make an effort. Earnest goodness does. Okay? Big difference. That's why that chapter is a big deal. It's a very big deal. Very, very big deal. All right. That's very wonderful.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you for the reading, the wonderful, beautiful reading, Beena. It was great fun. It was great fun. Yeah. So we want to get others to come and read too, like Norma
Please.
and
Oh yes, please do come because I always get immersed into my understanding. I can just read it through,
Yeah.
okay, with my at least much ease than what I was doing. But my mind is not trained to actually skip anything if I'm not understanding it. This is how I train
Yeah.
my mind.
But it's very,
No,
very
not going
helpful.
to move forward.
Yeah.
So it makes my reading of new things or new understanding a bit like clumsy because no, I'm going to read it again. Okay, I'm going
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
repeat this. I'm going to just pause it here.
No,
But
it's
this
not
is how
clumsy,
I
Beena.
understand.
It's helpful. Don't think of it as clumsy. It's very helpful. When you do
Yeah,
that,
but
when you go over and you understand it for yourself, it adds tremendously to my comprehension. It's fantastic. It is fantastic. It is wonderful to see somebody
yes,
figuring it out in real time. This is a gift we seldom, seldom see. It's a very precious thing, incredibly precious thing. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. It's a big deal. So no, don't think of it as, don't
oh,
apologize for it. It's a wonderful share. And that's why we do this, so that we can get this, and why I like you to read. Yeah, because you do that, and it's profound. It's a big, big bonus. It's a big, big bonus. Yeah, huge, big deal. Huge, big
yes.
deal.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for
Wonderful.
watching, and of course, would
Yes,
love to see your
yes,
comments, and please do share if you like to,
yes,
and
yes,
please also that keep coming back because
yes,
something huge is
yes,
going to happen. This is
yes. Pay
something
attention
really,
to an upcoming post and event announcement.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Thank you. Thank you,
All right.
Blaine. Thank you,
Okay.
Norma. Love you.
Yes. Thank
मैं
you,
आपसे
Norma.
बहुत प्यार
Love you.
करती
Bye bye.
हूँ.
Bye bye, everybody. And
Okay.
meeting for all.